We're off. How do they start a race, Elvis?
I was literally going to say off to the races.
Off to the races.
Yeah. Gentlemen, start your engines.
All right. Vroom, vroom.
Vroom, vroom. Put it in gear and give her.
This is the Him and I show, and we are going to get together and chat. Actually, we're already together, and we're going to chat about, about 3 pages worth of questions. That's what we're going to chat.
Yeah, there were a lot of questions, a lot of great questions.
Yeah. We have to think about the past.
Yes.
So I'm wearing Stars on Ice paraphernalia from 1908, I think. And
2001.
2001?
Yeah.
Kulik's in this one. Lipinski, Gorsha, Cousins,
Yamaguchi,
Sato.
Kulik, yeah. Mino, Sand, Rokasur, Cousins, yeah.
No Stojko in this one.
No, not in that one. I wasn't there
so
yet.
We'll figure that out because that's one of the questions.
Yeah, one of the questions. We'll answer that.
All right, so Stars and Ice is coming. We are leaving in a few days for Stars and Ice. We're both complaining about not having enough time, but we'll be there in Halifax on Friday night, no matter what. Ready?
Let's go.
Can you read without glasses?
Yes.
Your first, and you have all your hair, your first tour together in Stars and Ice in 1993, which I didn't know. Then again in 2006. So there's a big hiatus there for us being in the show together. So that was because you found more fun down the States.
Yeah.
Our careers were like going, and then...
Yeah, it stayed together for a bit, and then I had my own tour in Canada.
That's right.
That was kind of competing with Stars a little bit. Stars would be in the spring, and I was in the fall. Yeah, but it actually worked really well.
That was the rock and roll.
Yeah, we did something a little bit different. We didn't want to be like Stars, so we just did something different. And then in the States, I did Champions on Ice with Tom Collins, which
I did twice, but I only guested just a few shows.
Yeah,
that was like 90 cities or something.
It was crazy. Yeah, we'd start like right after Worlds. We go April till August. There was like 93 shows, 88 cities, something like that. I would, as a amateur, I'd only do about 50 of them because I had to train and get ready for the next season.
Only 50.
Yeah, but it was tough. Like I was training on tour. Ushi and I were putting together long and short programs.
Ushi Kessler was
my choreographer at the time. We were putting together all our stuff for the season. So it was just a crazy mix. But I got along really well with Tommy and I got along with everyone. Like with the group, synergistically for me, it worked really, really well touring in the States and
still competing at the same time. It's kind of crazy. I never did that.
Most of us did on tour. Like we were training like to train like with there was Todd Eldridge and all the main guys. Victor was there too. He was retired, but it was great to skate with Boitano and then train with all like the Russians and everybody. Like every day we were training with them. So you were like on point all the time.
Yeah.
You know, you'd be tired from like doing show after show, and then you get out there, somebody do triple axe or a quad, you're like, oh crap, now I gotta go do it.
Yeah.
So and then we try to outdo each other in the show too, which was really cool. Todd and I had such a healthy relationship that way.
Well, I toured Tom Collins' tour, and we had a competition who could do the most triple axels.
Yeah.
And Todd Eldridge won.
Oh, he was awesome for that.
And he even turned the wrong way. That's what
he jumped the other direction.
So that's what happened. We had a little hiatus. I started in there. I think this is my 28th year or my 29th year. It depends on how you count.
And you're only 33.
And I'm only 33.
Amazing.
You're so sweet. There's actually a question. What was it like back then versus now? But you've already answered some of that. Obviously, skaters do not have that kind of opportunity to work. But were there any traditions that continue? I mean, in Stars, there's something called the goodie.
Yeah.
And that's the good luck token of affection or something. It could be just a fist pump that misses or whatever.
Yeah, everybody has their own little connection with everyone, and just before we go out, we have a little thing that we do.
Did Tom Collins do that?
Not to the same. There were too many skaters. Like in '94, we had all these huge names that were there. You know, Gordy Evagrenkov and Oksana Bayul and Nancy Kerrigan, Kwan Boitano. It was huge. We skated once.
Petrenko.
One number. And the show was 3 hours.
And a little opening and a little goodbye.
A little opening to get 10 seconds. Hey, how you doing? They announce your name, you get off. And then at the end, we had a closing number. And then, hey, how you doing? And then you were done. Yeah. So it was 3 hours of it was insane. Because we had the top 3 of every discipline from Worlds competing. Plus, he had all his,
Except for the ones that went to Stars and Ice.
Except for the ones from Stars and Ice. And then the pros. It was huge. It was huge. But there were so many skaters. and skating was so
Yeah.
popular, we could split between
Well,
stars and champions.
To answer this question, what has changed is that skating is struggling compared to that. But that was like, I told you, I liken it to a gold rush.
Gold Rush.
You know,
It was
30 people live in the town. A week later, it's 300, and 2 months later, it's 3,000. Like, it was a gold rush back then.
it was crazy. Like we were just talking about just before we started this, like the biggest crowd I skated in front of was Alamo Dome, 33,500 people. And now what sucks now is that we'd sell out, you know.
Just trying to picture that. I mean, there was 60 something in Salt Lake City when I skated the closing ceremony.
Oh, crazy.
It's not even people anymore. It's just there's a hill with
like,
something moving.
Yeah, it's a rock like
It's too big.
You feel like a rock star. Back then it was so different.
Feel like a rock star. It's got a good name for it. What are some of the best memories of touring together on and off the ice? I was thinking about, and then I second guessed myself. Remember we used to go rollerblading, like in towns that we were in together.
Oh yeah.
And that was during tour or during competition. It wouldn't have been during competition, so it had to be touring. Was it?
Yeah, because it was outdoors, and usually in competition it was still
But
winter.
It wasn't Stars on Ice. It was something else we were doing, like Skate the Nation or something.
Yeah, it was something different.
But that's some of my favorite memories. And someday I'll find the footage and we'll get together and we'll figure it out. But when we were at the Olympics together, we did this video called "The Search for Eric Lindros," which was this huge, big star on the Canadian hockey team, and we spent one day looking for Eric Lindros. So we got to put that out somewhere. What about you? Do you have do you have memories of touring with me?
Of course, I got.
We have hot tub memories. It seems like lately. The last couple of years, we just bump into each other
Hot tub time machine.
Yeah.
Hot tub time machine. We go back in time.
Everyone else is out partying, and Elvis and I are back in the hot tub going, "Oh, that hurts."
Yeah, exactly.
We've had some great talks over the hot tub.
Yeah,
in the hot tub.
Yeah,
around the hot tub.
And this might answer maybe some questions that are later, but just as we tour now, it's like we connect a little bit more. Because even back then, I was younger because of our age difference. It was a little more back then, but now it seems closer. And I was still.
Who's older, right?
Yeah, but here's the thing. Like when I was a kid, I was really, really shy. Kurt's always been an extrovert. I was an introvert. So I didn't open up as much. I remember one year, you got to know me a little bit better, and I started joking around, and you were like, "Oh my God, you're actually funny." You said that, and I'm like, "Yeah, I just never really let it out because I was always very self-conscious of myself."
Yeah. It was fun. My friend Jeff, who was choreographed Stars on Ice with me, we went and saw you perform in Toronto and Chicago.
Oh, okay.
It's Chicago, right?
Yeah.
And it's interesting because when you turn it on, it's there. Like,
yeah.
You know, but as you age and mature, but as a little one, you were much more quiet.
Yeah, I was.
But you learned to be able to manipulate. He was so good in that. So good.
Thank you.
You were great. Okay, Pat Nodden, who's going to be in Halifax. Looking forward to see you, Pat. She's amazing. Is there a theme for Stars on Ice this year? Do you know the theme? It's the journey.
Yeah, the journey. Yeah.
It's
really cool.
It's going to be a journey.
Yeah.
We don't know a lot about it yet because Jeff Buttle is the choreographer, so it's called The Journey. And we've been sending in videos and pictures.
I actually sent in stuff from I have reel to reel.
What?
Stuff from reel to reel that I had converted to VHS and then from VHS to hard drive because
when you were little,
like little, like 6 and 7.
Oh my God, that's gonna.
Yeah,
be
and
great.
it's actually not too bad. Like for my very first competition, my very first 2 competitions.
So if you come to see Stars on Ice on the screens in the corners, you'll see Baby Elvis.
Yeah.
It's like Baby Yoda.
Yeah, baby.
Just little baby
Oh my
Elvis.
God, my wife's obsessed with Baby Yoda.
Oh really?
Yeah.
That's pretty cute.
I know.
And I sent in. Well, you'll have to come. You have to come and see.
Yeah.
How's that?
I know what it is.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's cool.
What are the most exciting? Just have to put these on. What are you most excited to share with fans on the upcoming Stars on Ice tour? My new haircut. That's about it. I'll go because he's verklempt. I'm doing a program from 21 years ago, Naya.
Really?
Which has no jumps which is my motivation for doing it. But it's been harder than I thought. Like when I watched the video of me 21 years ago, and I'm like flipping around, and then I'm doing it. I'm like, oh, okay, I've changed. It's hard.
Do you find it's interesting you say that? It's like as you get older, we get more efficient with things because we're like the body's getting older, so you try to figure out ways. But I find the attention to detail and things, like every little thing comes up, and you're like, I'm gonna change that, and you can spend an hour on like 3 seconds. It's not just me.
I was so mad at myself the other day because the Zamboni coming on. I go, why is it coming on early? I haven't got anything done, and I was just fixated on trying to fix this little problem, and I got nowhere. Yeah. Yes, I agree.
I have two new programs that have been sitting on the bench because of the last couple of years with COVID.
True.
And I'm really excited for them. One is it's a fun program. It's from just say The Weekend. I'm not going to say which. Not going to say. People pretty much will figure out which song it is.
Going current.
Yes, going current. And then one older one that I've been doing on smaller carnivals to kind of get it going. And it's a really cool, powerful, slow piece that's got a lot of, I don't know, there's something about it, and it's just very electric, very powerful, and I'm excited to skate it in front of the crowd because I'm getting good reception from it from the smaller towns. So cool. Yeah, it'll be good.
My other one is How Can I Stop by Keith Richards. Not Mick Jagger, still the Rolling Stones, but Keith Richards sings it.
Really?
Yeah. Oh. I think he took the cigarette out of his mouth long enough to sing.
You're doing two?
Yeah, you're doing one? You're doing two.
You getting paid? What?
Twice.
Yeah.
Every third show I get paid. This one seems to me, for me, when did I become first aware of Elvis? We won junior champ.
Okay.
Yeah. And, because I was basically always out west.
Yes,
so
you
can kind of sneak up on me, and you're far enough away.
Yeah.
When did I perceive him as a threat? When you won junior.
But it was weird because I won junior and then I didn't make nationals the next year. Because everyone asked hey, where were you? And I'm like, I was 5th at divisionals. I didn't even make nationals. They're like, how was that? I had a growth spurt. And
I didn't make nationals once because I had a car crash 2 days before. I was so sore I couldn't skate. That happened.
Really?
Yeah. Didn't make nationals one year.
Whoa.
But I think it's interesting because in skating it's really hard to hide talent. It's not like, maybe not like singing where you can kind of sing but not really be seen, or it's not the right song or something. But in skating, it's like, oh, he just went around the corner, like that guy's good. It's really hard to hide. So as soon as you saw Elvis, you knew that this kid's going to be amazing. And it was very, very quickly that we were teammates at Worlds. And doing side-by-side quads at Worlds, really quickly.
It happened really quick. I remember going up to junior. I was pre-novice, novice. I was in the hunt with stuff, and then junior was like badoom, and then I backed off that 1 year, and then all of a sudden I went down, and then wham! It even for me, I was surprised everything came so quickly. I was working with Glenn on all my martial arts stuff, which really helped with timing for me, and it helped me get the axle and the quad. As soon as I got triple axle and quad, then it just vaulted me, and it was Sudbury that just from there.
I think so many kids nowadays they're fixated on just the skating, where both of us we were doing other things almost as much as we were skating. Yeah. Whether it was baseball or hockey or soccer or biking.
That was the cross training.
It was the cross training.
Yeah, it was
tennis. I was playing a lot of tennis. And everything was physical and aggressive and fun. You were racing motorbikes and jumping them and taekwondo. Well, not taekwondo.
The kung fu, of that, yeah.
And everything kind of was like, I need to learn how to use my body and then apply it to figure skating. It was cool. But I think kids don't. I don't know. I don't think they don't distribute their energy as much as you and I did.
Yeah, and they talk about not to take away about anything about science is always learning new ways about the body and so forth. But I find that by doing other sports and other activities, without always having someone constantly on you, that you figure out how your body works on your own time. Learning to throw ball, catch, doing that type of thing, even though it's not sports specific.
Backyard gymnastics.
Yeah, it just helped. For me, I learned I would go play golf and it would throw off my jumps a little bit. But when I was on my dirt bike, for some reason it helped because of my knees and ankles and the way my body, it was just the way I locked my body into position. It worked. It was so bizarre.
You were golfing underwater.
Yeah.
How was your first perception of each other changed over the years? Well, that's a hard question. I mean, I don't know. You were a junior kid, and then you became. I don't know.
I know.
I'm not sure how to answer that one.
That's a tough
We've
one.
known each other for a long time.
Yeah.
I think what's interesting is that when you started doing Stars and Ice regularly again, we did get to know each other.
Yeah.
But we've always shown each other a lot of respect. I think our families.
That was and some of the fans too.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Jeez.
I gotta share that too. There was
I have
like
so many times where it's fun to go, oh, Elvis Stojko fan. You know, like, and people are like, oh, I'm like, it's a joke. But back then it wasn't a joke. You had to choose camps.
When I won nationals, I used to get hate faxes to the rink.
Faxes? What?
I got hate faxes to the rink. They were so mad that I won nationals.
So my money was well spent.
I did see that at the bottom. Brittany was.
Was it my handwriting?
Yeah.
Oh.
Hey, it's all the same handwriting from different people.
Do you remember the first time we met? And I don't remember the first time we met.
I do.
But you do.
Yeah. I can kind of share maybe a little bit of the story.
So he wouldn't tell me the story.
Because he wanted to do it on camera, but I don't think it's not fully appropriate, but kind of appropriate.
This is not good. This is not making me look good. Tell it quick and get it over with.
Okay, I was probably around
But don't tell it.
13 years old. We were at the national. It was a national seminar.
So you were 13?
I was 13.
13.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
13. Yeah. And I was very, very quiet, walked into the room and...
Probably a good time for me to get drink water. You tell...
Do you want me to say the story?
No, probably
okay,
not.
okay, and yeah, and Kurt was there, and all the buddies and everyone's like hanging out, you know, doing this thing. And he was the same. He was so like comfortable with everyone. For me, I wasn't like that. I was very, very quiet and shy and everything.
13 at a camp. Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah. And there was a particular word. I don't know if it was euphoria or some kind of word or something came up, and I didn't know what it was. I didn't understand the meaning of it. And
I still don't understand.
yeah, and Kurt came up with a way to describe what euphoria was, but I can't use that part of the story.
Next question.
Just let's say it wasn't appropriate.
Just there to educate.
He was to educate, and I still remember that moment. But it was...
To be blatantly honest, I had a similar situation where when I first met Brian Orser, he said something very adult. And I don't think I'll ever forget that moment.
Yeah. So there you go. It was passed down from generation to generation.
Later on, he'll tell me this full story, and I'll take it to my grave. My question to him is, what did you say to Jeff Buttle that probably threw him under the bus?
Yeah.
That's not your style. You're under control. You don't lose control too often. Against yourself, I've seen you.
Oh yeah. I snap.
Yeah, you snap.
Yeah.
Don't be close. One hand. What do you think was the other's greatest competitive strength? What was fun about watching us compete, I'm sure, is that we were very different.
Totally.
It was kind of like we just had very different ways of even carrying the ice, like carrying the energy on the ice.
And getting prepared. Like Kurt could have like
5 bad skates. And
like a worst session ever, and then get out there and skate clean, and I'd be like, what the fucking right?
But competing against you, the hardest part, to answer the actual question, was your consistency. So your nickname was the Terminator, and it was well earned. It was like there was no stopping Elvis. So you had to bring it because he wasn't going to give it to you. Like there was no gifts from competing against you.
I was
not very often.
Yeah.
You were in the Olympics. You were kind of injured, and you weren't your usual self.
98 was really hard. Yeah. That was.
But usually it was like you knew what you were getting, and it was not fun. And then for me, I'll bet it was like feeling like I somehow got the rink, like I could catch the rink.
Yeah, you could. It was interesting because it was like when you went to compete, you'd kind of just sort of move around and kind of search for the feeling, and you'd wait for it to come to you, kind of get in the zone and kind of just in it. And if you weren't in the zone, you'd go and talk to somebody.
If I wasn't in the zone, I was useless.
Yeah, because
But this wasn't the zone.
No.
That wasn't my zone. Was over there.
Yeah, you would go talk to people. You would crack jokes. You would try to find your zone externally to click you internally. or I would have to
really
click.
well said.
I would have to click internally to make it happen. Because again, the extrovert and the introvert, and I had to learn to be an extrovert that way because of performance and because of you. I learned that.
Cool.
Yeah, which was really
I
awesome.
learned so much from Brian Arcer.
Yeah, it's like
That first day we met, I taught you a lot. It would seem.
Yeah, that first day. Yeah, yes, yeah.
What do you think? What do you think your own biggest skating weakness is?
Oh,
you just said it. I mean, if I couldn't necessarily control myself so that I could be the best version of myself when I needed it.
Mm-hmm.
I was too mercurial that way, so I could be thrown off. And it did happen. I wasn't the clean long program guy. Short program mostly was clean. It was pretty consistent. But I was not that Christy Yamaguchi got on the ice at 8 o'clock every Saturday morning and would still skate a clean long. And I'm sure you were the same way.
Pretty much.
Pretty much. I mean, because you were trying quads and triple axels and she wasn't. But
we put we had a sheet at the side of the rink there that you could write your name on how many clean shorts and how many clean longs, and we had this competition at the rink. No matter it was novice, junior, senior, didn't matter.
My name wasn't even on the sheet.
And I always won, and I'm so competitive. I had to win that all the time. I was at the rink. It was so ridiculous. Even playing pool with the guys like on tour, I had to win everything. Like, it was crazy, you know. And it would answer part of the question.
Race car driver.
Well, the thing is, I hated losing more than I loved winning.
I was kind of the opposite. I loved winning, and I didn't mind if I lost. It was like,
yeah,
okay, I could get over that.
Yeah, I was good at losing, but I was hard on myself. You know, I would always blame myself.
But what
first.
was your biggest weakness? I don't think you.
Oh no, I think way
have
too much. No. No, I thought way too much, and I thought too much detail, and I got too much inside my head, and not have sort of the moment of. And it was funny because there's times where we were at competition and I'd see you and it would trigger something to kind of loosen up. And just a little bit because it was too tight because I trying too hard instead of just allowing that performance to
Please, in Halifax, to say that to me in the tunnel before we skate. Just don't try so hard because that's as I'm older and 2 years off, I got on the ice in a show in December and my eyes couldn't deal with the spotlight. I didn't know where it was. I took 2 falls in one number where I was like that. And I mean, the crowd goes, you know that sound?
Yeah. Oh! Yeah. Well, a few years ago when I landed on my head in Hamilton. Ooh! And I didn't get up.
I was in the change room. I'm glad I didn't see that.
That was ouchy.
That hurt. Okay, here we go. What's next? So now that I know what your biggest weakness is, what was the most challenging thing for you personally becoming a figure skater? So I'm assuming this question is referencing being a boy and skating?
There was only 2 guys in my club. When I started in Newmarket back in like the 70s, there was only 2 boys skating. The rest were all girls. And it was actually a funny story with that, which is funny because in one of those videos, it's the taping me. We were doing edges. So they put all the girls and guys together to compete.
Because one of the videos on the...
Yeah. So, and it was just edges, like figures. And they didn't think a boy would win. I ended up winning. So the trophy's a little girl with my name on it. And I still have that trophy from like 1976 or something like that. And it's a little girl, you know, the little skirt and the whole, it has the...
Oh, you gotta send us a picture of it so we can flash it on the screen
I gotta find it. It's in one of the
That's
boxes.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's so great.
And your first skates were white, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I hated doing my mom had to paint them. I would not go on the ice unless they were black. I would lose my
mom fixed the problem too. She made me blue velour skate covers because that made it better. But somehow, because I'm me, I'm like, it's like my blue suede shoes. You know? It was like I loved it.
I would have been so self-conscious about it.
I'm like, what?
But that's such a Kurt thing. You'd be like,
cool. I loved you. You peeled it up, you took your skates off, then I put it on my toe, and I would flick it and try and hook it on the hook above my head. And that's what it was all about.
And that's how Brick House started. Brick House! That's how it started. This is...
Anyways, but being a kid, being a boy in figure skating for me, I was fairly oblivious to other people trying to make me feel bad about that choice. Because it was their problem, not mine, and it was something natural that I had that wasn't taught to me. It was just sort of like, I'm figure skating. It's not your problem. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Oh, stay out of your way.
Yeah.
You go do your hockey thing,
I got-
whatever it is.
I got picked on more like in high school until I won Canadians, and
Then
I
all of a
was
sudden-
what's the greatest thing since sliced bread? But it's just funny that way. But then another piece was the hours that we skated, because we did compulsory figures. I was on the ice like
Yes.
5-6 hours a day.
And to quickly confirm what that is, they clean the ice and you're very careful and you draw circles on the ice with certain edges of your blade. And it took forever. And it's why it's called figure skating.
Yeah.
Because they were figures on the ice. There you go, little history.
Yeah, I'd be on the ice at 5:30, and then skate till 9, go to school, and then come back after school and do another bunch of sessions. It was crazy. That was back in the day. It was nuts.
That's
Skating
nice.
at the Toronto Cricket Club with Mrs. Burka was just like whoosh, like
Ellen
just-
Burke, the great Ellen Burke.
yeah, loved, yeah.
I've never had a hard. Well, my first coach was hard, but I mean, then after I was 11, she was gone or something. But
Yeah, she was hardcore, man, like hardcore.
never really had a hard.
Yeah,
coach.
loved her. She loved me, but it was tough.
What's the biggest risk you ever took in your competitive career?
The biggest risk.
I had a bad haircut. That was probably it didn't pay off. That was not a good. I won't even tell you what year because you'll go look. But trying the quad back then was a huge risk. It felt like you were doing something no one literally had ever done before, and
Yeah.
it was.
Quad triple, like actually in Hamilton for the Grand Prix final. I was
Is
first.
that where you first did it in the Grand Prix final?
Yeah, and I was first after the short program, and there's a few guys that were trying the quad, and then I was like, I'm just gonna go for the quad triple, and I could have like lost everything to the risk, and I just said to Dushi and Doug at the time, I'm like,
If I landed, I'm pulling in.
yeah, just do this. So I'm gonna commit to it, and it happened. It was awesome.
Guinness World Records.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So I think it's the quad. I really do.
Yeah.
It's a haircut too. You're both known for first bringing the quad to the world stage. Quad double, quad triple, first these milestones were all set with the quad toe loop. Did you ever try quad jumps in practice? I am assuming other ones. And what were they? And how close did you come to landing them? You were playing with Lutz, weren't you?
Yeah, I did quad. In practice, I've landed quad sow, quad lutz, quad flip. I worked on quad loop and did quad axle on the harness.
What was that like? I mean, I didn't even know you did quad flip.
Yeah.
Like, I'm learning it here. That's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, in practice, yeah. It was bizarre.
Bit of a
I
show
think
off.
I did one.
Says he's an introvert.
Yeah, I did one. Lutz, I did a number of them, but it was weird. It was hard to get consistent with it. Just
Take off.
yeah, and just I was doing them early on.
Friedrich Lutz was that guy. He was not the same guy.
And then the harness, the old not the fishpole harness, but the weird one where you gotta go.
You were doing
I did
quad
quad
axle
axle
on
on
that
that,
thing?
yeah.
Because you're okay. So to explain, fishpole harness is somebody skating beside you. So if you're in trouble, they go like this and kind of support you.
And you can keep your pattern on the ice, like
and speed.
Where the other one
It's
is
on a rail.
it's cantilevered, but it's on a long line, and we don't kind of to set up for an axle. You don't go on a straight line, so I had to go out and around. And Robert Tebby,
Oh yeah.
he was on the harness, but he weighs less than me. So I went up to try it, and he just yanked me into there. The very first time he yanked me up, and then as I came down to pull him up like off his feet, right? Because he didn't know how high. I just cranked the crap out of this because I don't know what's gonna happen. I just
Quad
pulled-
axle.
Yeah, and I over rotated and it was just because he pulled too much. And then eventually I got to do it, but it's such a bizarre, it was bizarre.
Okay, so a million years ago when I combed my hair, I was trying quad axle, but I think only for about 4 days, like 1 week. And I
Yeah.
played with it
Yeah.
and didn't even try very many. But I remember being up in the air and like coming out just way too early, like just opening so early because I'm like, I must be done now.
Well, your body's so used to,
Yeah.
because we practiced triple axle so much because that was the
That was the king of the...
is a king of the thing,
Yeah.
thing of the
That
thing.
was your
back-
short program ticket to first place.
Yeah, and combination, all that sort of stuff. So it's ingrained in you, and then when you started playing with quads, it throws off your other jumps too. Like all your other jumps go all weird, and you have to like re-slot everything in. So just going out to try them, that's what I tried a lot during the summer, just so my body could get used to them. And then I
And
landed.
figure out what's real.
Yeah,
For
and-
competition.
Yeah, exactly. You go, would I really trust this under pressure? Yeah.
So someone's going to land quad axle this year, do you think? 2023?
I don't know. It's hard. Like it's so difficult to do.
Yeah.
And it's so hard on the body. Like it's so hard on the body.
I think you're more penalized on the axle takeoff if you're off than a toe or a loop or anything else.
Totally.
Well,
because
loop is...
loop is I tried a few
Karen
of those.
Chan.
I slipped off the edge and wham, hit the ear. Oh, bleeding out the ear, and oh my god.
I lost my hair that way. Okay, here we go. You're both... This is getting monotonous.
Just leave them on.
I could. You're both handsome. What's this? When's the last time each of you did a quad? I think it was 1998.
2000.
And it was in Stars and Ice. And I did it in a retake, first try. Like I planned, I just did triple in the show and then just like did it.
Yeah. I think for me
It was pretty cool.
2006. I was on tour before.
That's not that long ago. Like, considering.
I was third. How old was I?
You did it in competition?
No. Just
for fun.
I was messing around. I was doing triple axles and quads. I was like super. That year I was super light. I was on this new diet. I was super light, and all of a sudden I was like, could feel. You know, the moment you're like, I can do this right now.
Yeah.
You feel it. It comes to you. It's like these weird moments. The feeling just comes to you. Like I could do one right now. You're on practice, and then boom, you do it. And you're like,
every once in a while I still have that feeling, so I go to YouTube.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I go to YouTube and go, there it is.
There it is.
That's all I need.
Good.
Yeah, I'm good.
Elvis turned pro to a quite different pro world in the 2000s than I did in the 1990s. You were still catching the wave a bit.
Yeah,
You didn't compete professionally.
I would have loved to, but there wasn't as many.
Kind of glad you didn't. Do you think your career trajectories would have been different had your timing been reversed?
If I was
me, like if you were 4 or 5 years earlier.
Yeah, if reversed, so I'm you and you're me type of thing.
I don't think it would have. Or is it just still you, but you're earlier?
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope you've enjoyed us trying to figure out your question, because I think that's as far as we're going. I don't think it would have been that different.
Probably not.
Not really.
Not.
More like how much you would have worked, not really what you would have done or accomplished. Mm-hmm. Did I ever consider going back to competition like Elvis did after you went pro? But I was lucky. He didn't get to compete after he turned pro, like the way I did. Yeah. So I mean, I'm like in these events where there's 16,000 people there.
Yeah.
Victor Petrenko, Brian Boitano, Scott Hamilton, Paul Wiley.
I would have loved
Chris Bowman.
Oh my God, I would have loved to have done that.
You're up against history,
legends.
like legends. And it was like.
Yeah. Well, going back, like I tried to go back the 1 year. I took the year off and I was going to come back in 2004, and I was actually skating pretty good. But then that killer instinct, it was weird. I was training and all of a sudden it just left me. And I was like, I just don't want, this isn't important anymore. It was weird. I just woke up one morning and was like, oh my gosh, it's not there. And you need, like, to compete at that level. And I wouldn't compete unless I could be at the top. I wouldn't just compete for the sake of competing.
Yeah, I can't see you getting, just competing for the goodie bag.
Yeah, and because the hours it takes, like that was the other thing about with skating, it's the hours it takes to get, keep your stuff going,
So I didn't have to actually consider going back to competition, but there's no way. I mean, once you lose that fighting edge, to get it back is like, it's tough.
Yeah, very, very hard.
Gail Kaylee, Keylee. Kaylee, thank you. If you never had pursued skating as your passion or your career, what do you think you would have done instead? I think you're an introvert, but I think both of us might have tried to act like you love acting. I would have loved to have been an actor.
Love it.
I tried to be an architect, but my drawings were so slow. They were good, but they were so slow that I always got terrible marks because it took me too long. Yeah,
no way.
I'm actually more type A than you'd think. Way more. And
really?
So like when I do something like that, if I rake the lawn, it's a long day. Yeah.
I thought just the way you are, you'd just be like boom, 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 boom. Just the way you're like. No. Interesting.
You should see me shop groceries. It's not fun. Yeah, it's not. It's a pain in the.
For me, acting, yeah, and then motorsport, I would have been racing cars for sure. That's a given. But interesting to talk about that is like when I like read just in my head, if I'm reading, I'm the worst. It takes me forever. Gladys, who her second language is English, she reads faster than me in English than I read.
Yeah, I'm not
It takes
a fast
me.
reader.
Wasn't.
You can tell.
I wasn't really good in school. Like that wasn't my place. I had to work really hard for marks. My brain doesn't work that way. I'm more, I don't know. It's just kinetic energy, like my body and stuff. I'm more that way.
Good word.
You know, kinetic. You know that type of thing rather than the cerebral of this. I use this for like figuring out the body, but to like papers and reading and stuff, it just wasn't. It was really hard for me. Yeah.
I remember school. Okay. Is there, Cheryl Garcia, for both, what was your most favorite piece of music you skated to and why? That's like my career is like so long, and yours too actually. How do you answer that question? There's so many neat moments in our careers. Like, how do you answer that question?
It's tough. I mean, Dragging the Bruce Lee story has such a special.
When earlier they said, is there a program that you might like to skate of Elvis's? I thought of that one.
Yeah,
it would be cool to be inside.
That would have been cool to see you do that. But it just, that one had a special meaning for me, for my instructor and my instructor's instructor, who that energy being passed down and
Shifu.
There's the Shifu, or in Cantonese it's Sifu, and then Sigong or Shigong, which is, so Mandarin has more like a sh sound to it. So you'll say Shifu or Shigong. Or in Cantonese, Sifu or Sigong. So the grandfather and father type of thing.
They were like with you when you skated.
Yeah, that energy, and then honoring Bruce, who I followed all the philosophies of his and stuff like that too. That was Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee. Yeah, so that had a really big like connection for me.
It's a way deeper, soulful action, like Brick House somehow. It's like, she's a brick hat. It's just a party with shiny blue pants on, and somehow it's that.
Yeah, but it's still there's a depth.
That was a lot of fun.
It's a party, but the reason why that number it's in you. It's deep, man. It's just you.
That was just a party. I think we answered this one.
Hey, Rocky.
We did. Tracy Black. She loved Brick House. We were just talking about. If I ever met Lionel Richie, I never did, because he's from the Commodores, which played music. If you know what they thought of it, I don't know. I know that Gene Kelly was shown singing in the rain. Like, check out what this kid's doing, and saw it. And I don't really know how he reacted, but I know that he saw it. Somebody told me that, I was there, and he saw it. I was like, great. No feedback? No? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know how he felt about it. So the question is... more generally for you both, have you ever met or gotten reactions from any of the musical artists you performed to?
I have two. So first one was Girly Really Got Me by Van Halen, their version. I was on tour, and I was in the States, and I did it for an exhibition for Lillehammer Olympics in '94. And we were on tour, Tom Collins tour, did my thing, and Van Halen was just before us in LA. They performed in LA, and they knew we were coming in. And one of the crew guys that was working there told me, he said, Elvis, it was the Right Here, Right Now tour for Van Halen, and they had the scarf and they had this signed thing for me saying, hey, Elvis, thanks. It was Eddie Van Halen saying, hey, thanks for using our music at Olympics. That was awesome. Have a great tour, blah, blah, blah. And I still have that. It was a scarf that they gave me, which was really cool.
But you didn't get to meet him?
No, I didn't get a chance to meet him, which kind of...
Time for a flex.
Yeah.
Because I have.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, at the closing ceremonies for the Olympics, I met everyone who was ever famous. I swear, everyone was there.
You were.
So I have a photograph with him. He is one attractive man.
The extrovert. This guy was always mingling with everyone.
No, it was because you hang out with Scott Hamilton, you meet everybody.
Yeah, that's true.
He's famous. He's very famous.
And then the other one was Dragging the Bruce Lee story. Back then, the director sent me the Laserdisc. Signed it, and then
I remember
Laserdisc. Yeah, they signed it. The actual of the movie. They said thanks for using the piece, and then Randy Edelman, who did the music, they framed the actual sheet music, the handwritten of the piece, and he said, "Hey, thanks." Yeah, it was really really cool. The other part of it, which was really neat, it's kind of an offshoot of it. I got to meet Chuck Norris at Olympics because he came to watch the Olympic Games.
Told you that story.
And he asked our chef de mission to get a hold of me so I could meet him. He wanted to thank
Chuck
me.
Norris, another action
guy. And
guy.
I got to talk with him for an hour, teaching him about skating. But it was amazing because he just wanted to thank me for honoring his friend Bruce because I had talked about it and he was just amazed by it. And that was yes. And then I met Bruce's widow, Linda Lee Codwell. She sent me a whole bunch of like Bruce Lee paraphernalia, and that was really cool. Yeah.
Nathan Chen got a text or a tweet or something.
Yeah, from Elton.
From Elton John.
I know. Pretty crazy.
I got to meet Gordon Lightfoot.
Cool.
And he came to Hamilton, and so we got to hang out and talk. And I went.
I remember. Yeah, I remember.
So I got to skate to Gordon Lightfoot while he was in the audience.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Neat stuff. We've had so many good, cool things happen. Is there a program of your own that you think would be fun to see the other do? We kind of talked about it like that.
Yeah.
But when we were competing back in the amateur days, representing Canada, both the Leafs on our backs and Elvis, well, I used to, once, I made not fun of, but with Victor Petrenko got off the ice early, and he had the same long program for years.
He did like 3 years in a row.
He had that. He had this simple little twist of the wrist. So I did it, because he wasn't on the ice, which was met with some disapproval. But I wasn't disrespectful. I was like, well, I was having fun. Then my coach, Michael Uranek, I wasn't going to do my short program, so they played me music, and he knew that Elvis had done parodies of it.
I parodied everybody at my rink.
Called him over. And then go ahead.
Yeah, and then he just Michael and I. It was interesting because Michael and I got along really, really well, and he was like, "Elvis, go do Kurt's program." I'm like, just out of the blue.
This is at Worlds.
I'm like, what? Really? He goes, go do it. It'll be great. I'm like, okay.
He just wanted to be entertained.
Did it. And I did the whole entry into the triple axel. With the extra little leg thing, which you did. You were like, I do that. I'm like, yeah, you do, but I don't want to mess you up. Like, I remember that. It was so.
Do I really do that?
Yeah. Do I really? Yeah, you do that.
Leftovers of being of admiring Brian Orser, because Brian did that with his free leg.
Oh yeah.
So there was like, well, of course you did that too, right?
Yeah, and then we used to the end of his short program from '88.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Such a cool dude. Okay, so that was fun, obviously. I have never impersonated your programs.
It'd be fun to do Singing in the Rain, because you mentioned that.
To see you do it,
that'd be
but
cool.
I wanted you to sing it live. Like you gotta actually sing it. Actually, that was part of the question. Great. So I would love to see Elvis do that as a parody. It'd be fun. Is there a program with the others that you would have liked to do? So we kind of touched on that. I think it would be really cool to be able to do the control, the kung fu one that you everyone, like, that's one of your most famous competitive ones. Yeah. But we were talking just before the interview, and I my joke was that I want any of his short programs at the Olympics. It would be very handy. I would like to know what that felt like. Could have come in really handy. Just borrow that.
Just repeat the one you did from '88.
That one was a good one.
That was a good one. That one, actually, I would have loved to have done. The Pee Wee Herman.
So that was an exhibition number. And my coach, Michael Uranek, was like, why do you keep skating this really well? And I'm looking, I'm going, I don't know. He goes, that should be your short program. And I go, I can't. They say a word. In fact, they say tequila. Like, I can't compete in 1988 with that. And he goes, let's try it. Nobody ever said anything.
And it worked. Yeah, it worked
was
great.
So much fun.
We were talking earlier, and I said I would have, because I remember watching that on TV, to actually do his program, but in Kurt's body, to feel what he's feeling, what he's doing, because he was so loose and
I was so light.
He would just, and I was so controlled.
142 pounds of fun.
Like, it would have been awesome.
That was with hair. Okay, so what's a song you think the others should skate to? Drops are falling on my head. That would be great, because there is a lot of humor in you that hasn't really come out in your skating as much as it could. Todd Eldridge was the same. I kept talking to Todd, going, "Bring rehearsal Todd to the show." Yeah,
there was Todd. Yeah, Todd Eldridge. Yeah, we had some fun times. He had really good sense of humor.
Do you think that'd be good? Raindrops are falling on my head.
That would have been
fun.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Do a duet.
Yeah.
Amy Goodman Wall. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received? First thing I think of is Donald Jackson, who basically, it was just, the words were, go for it, it'll change your life.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but the setting is what made it so amazing. It was after the Olympics, and it was the closing ceremony of the Olympics, and I just finished the exhibition, and I was arriving late, and I was standing off to the side going, okay, I missed most of the show, but and then he was on a sleigh, dressed up like old-fashioned skater, waving at people like this, and he saw me.
Oh, cool.
So he goes, stop. So he stops the Olympics and gets out and walks over to me, and he goes, go for the quad. It'll change your life. Just do it. And he got back in his sleigh and left like frickin' Santa Claus. And I went, I gotta do the quad.
He told me that in '93 in Prague, because I didn't do the quad then. I was doing them in practice. I was landing quad triple, quad lutzes. I tried to do quad lutz.
That was a big competition for us too.
It was huge in Prague, and I remember him telling me, you should risk it. You should do it. I remember him. He was all about risk. I love Don for that. It was all about the risk, man. Like, go for it.
Yeah. He was first triple lutz.
Yeah. The first man to do triple lutz. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
My advice, it was
best advice you've ever got.
Yeah, it was a teaching thing. I got from my instructor, and it was during practice, and he said,
skating or kung fu?
Skating.
Okay.
Yeah, but he came to watch me practice. He'd always come to watch and see how I intermingled with Doug, and watched he just kind of watched. Glenn would just sit back and watch, and then kind of figure out how my mind was working.
Just to be clear, this isn't a skating instructor, right?
Yeah, this is my kung fu instructor.
At the rink.
At the rink, yeah.
Okay, cool.
So he said, okay, I want you, every time you're missing something, and then you end up doing it correctly, you're no longer going to focus on the ones that went incorrectly. You're only going to focus on the one that you did correctly. Because your brain always goes to the one and how to fix the one that was wrong. He goes, you don't think about the one that went wrong. You try to recreate the one that you did right.
And that's your new normal.
Yeah, and so I would be like, oh, I get it. I understood what he meant. So I would do the jump and then just recreate and go, that's the feeling that I like. Instead of trying to not do the one, you're always in the positive sense. It was interesting because I use that in everything now. Whether I'm on the track, doing stuff on the track, going, oh, that's the feeling. And then I'm not thinking about, oh, crap, turn 5 was way off and I was sideways. It was just that piece of advice I use everywhere.
Don't go out too wide to recreate that feeling. You go, bring it in tight.
Yeah.
So it's
I go
not,
here, I don't want to go there.
I don't want to go there. Because it reminds me of Christopher Bowman, and if any of you want to see genius on the ice, Google Christopher Bowman from the United States, because literally maybe one of the top talented skaters, technique, extrovert. Anyways, first time I met him, I had sort of met him, but first time I interacted with him was, you go down to breakfast and you're a Canadian and you're in Europe and there's all that food. You're like,
yeah.
What's going on?
They got to spread
it
out.
So like, what's this? It's a deviled egg. I'll try that. So anyways, Christopher and I met and we're sitting having breakfast together. And at that breakfast, he said, did you know, and I've used this many times, did you know that one negative thought will erase 100 positive thoughts in a second? And I'm like, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But now I do. And I think that changed how I thought. And I started realizing that just before I jump, it's just all go. It's all go. There's no, don't be this and don't lean back and don't. No, it's just go.
I want to add to that, because for every 3 times you do something incorrect, you have to do 3 times correct to unlearn it. Because you're instilling
that explains my car accident.
Because you're instilling the wrong timing, and then you have to unlearn it to get. You have to get your. It's not like you do one and you're like, oh, I'm fine now. No, you have to do it 3 times in a row, and then if you miss it, you have to still do it. It's the same thing.
Relationships, it's the same. Mistakes are. We always remember the car crash. We don't remember the 1,000 times you drove to the rink and not had a car crash, but you remember the car crash.
Of course,
it's instinct.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Great question.
Cool.
Is there a program to like what song? Here we go. This question's about me talking to kids at a seminar. In this video, I'm mentioning Elvis probably gives very different advice and focuses on things differently, and how both of your point of views are valid. What advice do each of you give when talking to young skaters? So I was thinking, and I asked Elvis before the interview because we were doing a little preamble. Yeah, he says my seminars are probably way more technical than yours, but also fun, but also thought as well.
Yeah.
Not just put your arm here and you got it, because
Yeah.
this muscle is attached to everything else.
I work a lot. I work with the kids up here in the mines and get them, as I'm teaching stuff, I can see the kids, like, they'll be overwhelmed or they'll feel a little bit intimidated trying new things. So I work with them as I'm teaching them there with their self-confidence as I'm teaching it, so that I can kind of carry them through so that they can be open to try new things.
Yeah. Because when this muscle shuts down,
yeah, then the body follows the
Yeah,
mind.
the body
So
follows
it's just in that aspect. But another thing that I teach them, I was going to add, is that not every kid that I work with on, doing seminars, wants to be an Olympic champion or compete. Some of them actually want to do shows and perform. And I told them, I said, if you want to do that, like, go and do that. Like, there's tons of things out there going on tour on cruise ships, and my wife had toured years with Disney and loved it. She was a principal.
So if you're not going to be in the national team, it's not over.
It's not over. There's so many avenues. If you love skating and you still want to perform, you don't always have to go down the competitive route, because there's some kids that just hate competing, but they love performing. So, work on the stuff that you need, get what you need to get something together for your audition, but really enjoy skating for the other options, because it doesn't always have to be that. And that opens up, like, I've had parents say thank you so much for that, because they're so shoehorned into the competitive scene that you can still do so many other things with skating.
And my conversations often go in the direction of being able to finish school, homework, parents, whatever it is. But when you get to the rink, it's your space. It's actually not where more pressure should be applied. It's actually where you use it to depressurize, because your glide and your spin and your favorite moves. Don't get stuck on the double salve that's not working.
Freedom.
Yeah. Your choice. It's kind of like your room in the house. I get to put that poster up because it's my room. But your skating should feel like your safe space.
Yeah.
And so, because it's not everyone, most people don't even get to apply for a ship show. Like there's Olympic champions and Olympic medalists and world champions. Then there's people who make a living skating for a little bit in their life. But still, the biggest population is just people who skated once.
Yeah.
And so how you have that relationship with that experience is important, because it shouldn't be something, I did that as a kid. It should be something where you learned all sorts of cool things: confidence, self worth, and also how to get to the rink on time, how to have goals and deadlines, and getting up from a fall and dealing with injuries, and
everything about skating can be applied to everything else in your life. I apply so much from skating into my racing, into my kung fu, and vice versa. It's interchangeable, but because we did it at such a high level, like that finite, you just learn so much about yourself. Like you said, the confidence, understanding, what it takes to be the best and what it takes to be good at something. And it doesn't always have to be, I got to be the best at something, but to get your best out of you, how to perform at your level, at the best for you, so that when you're doing it, you're like, yeah, that was awesome.
Because it feels so good to know that, like, I'm running at a high level of myself. I'm the best version of myself right now.
You're a V8 engine, you're running on all cylinders, and you're just giving her, and you put it to the floor, and it feels awesome. It's great to feel that. Yeah.
We have a new friend that just joined us.
Yeah. I'm snuggling with Rocky here and decided to put him in the shot.
Elvis is very busy when he's not skating, saving puppies all around the world, actually.
That's more Gladys's thing, but I help her out.
You bet.
I'm the muscle.
Your wife.
Yes.
Where was I? How did you manage to control your nerves and keep your composure in competitions, even though you've kind of touched on that, on being able to get internal to get external?
Yeah.
Even though there was so much pressure and distractions. Also, would you have liked to have the new scoring system in your competitive career? That's an interesting question that I don't think I've actually done.
I've thought about it. I mean, I don't know if it's my opinion, but I like the other one.
You like the 6.0?
Always, because the reason why, there was way more audience participation. People understood it. It had a certain energy to it. People can say what they want about it, but you look at say the name Nadia Comaneci, everybody remembers her, even if they weren't even alive back then. They know her.
Because 10, 10, 10, 10.
10, 10, 10. Christopher Dean.
Jane and Chris.
Yep. The 6 Zeros. It has a certain energy.
People will say there's no such thing as perfection, but I say there is such a thing as a perfect moment.
I agree 100%.
It could be coming around and seeing a bunch of flowers or a child's laugh, or they're perfect moments.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, there's a perfect moment for the perfect skater at the right moment in their career, in the right moment, and it's rewarded with that perfect score.
Yep.
And what you said about the audience participation, how many times have I seen my mom's handwriting where all the skaters' names were there and they had a squares, and she would write the 5-7, 5-6, and then you looked at it afterwards and it meant something. It was like, it was real. And then if either one of our moms wanted to guess what a skater got, they were always close, if not right on.
Yep.
It was tangible to interact with it. Nowadays, as I commentate on television, I'm very careful not to get too deep into it because it's too much. It's math. But here's what I love about the new system. Emmanuel Sandhu once was in 13th, I heard, after the short, and won. Mm-hmm. That would never happen in our day. If you were out of the top 2 after the short program, you needed to not only win the long, of course, but you needed the person who was first to be at least 3rd or 4th. They were called ordinals, as in you were now 5th, you're now 7th, you're first, not you have 180 points.
Yep.
And so what I like about the new system is that you can be 7th and practically tied for 3rd. So I think the new system shows that everyone's packed in more closely together.
And I'll play the devil's advocate. I like the old one because it made it tougher. Because in the short program, it was do or die. That's what I loved about it, because it added sense. That added that sense of put it down that day. The short program was important, and you'd have a lot of short program guys that did really well, and then they would tank in the long program, and those other ones would be able to do good in the long and then come back up and come,
Yeah, you could move.
It
was just hard to win.
I know, but I liked...
If you were 5th, you probably weren't going to win.
But I loved... That's what I loved about it.
You loved it?
I loved it. That pressure cooker, I loved.
Yeah. I loved the reveal of the score slowly. Mm-hmm. 5.7. 5 point, and you're like, there's too many more.
And then when they said it, when people saw it and people erupted, and then it was actually the announcer would say it, and it was
some competitions
made it real.
They all came up at once.
Yeah.
But I liked it when it came up one number at a time.
Each judge, boom.
And it would come up, and then the announcer 5.8, and you're like, I need 3 more of those. Come on, it was like.
I like knowing the countries. That just added more to it. I know people were upset because of this and that, but
you should. It was part of the story.
It was part of the story. It's part of the story, and I loved it.
We miss it, but I do appreciate what the new system.
Yeah, I appreciate that too.
I just wish it was easier for people to play in the sandbox with the skaters. How stressful was Canadians in 1993 in Hamilton? This person, Dawn, by the way, said that she was there, and it was like a rock concert. Young girls were screaming. Whenever any blade was on the ice, I signed a photo, and I said, during the exhibition, I signed a photo, and I don't understand. Why am I smiling? I said, I've always wondered since that moment exactly what we thought of the competition. So I'm not sure about the why am I smiling. Who knows? But I can tell you I was nervous as nervous gets. It was as big to me as any competition I'd ever been in.
Yeah, it was.
Even though it was only nationals, it wasn't worlds, it wasn't Olympics, but somehow
it was sold out.
It was big.
You had 50-50 Elvis Kurt, the guy running around in the Elvis white jumpsuit up and down the stands. It was rock concert, and it was live television, and I remember waiting for the stupid commercial break, and we couldn't go out for our 6-minute warm-up, and we're waiting. Finally let us out to get on the ice. You're just like chomping at the bit like a racehorse trying to get out there.
Gotta put this energy somewhere.
And you're literally like, your heart's doing this, and you're trying to stay calm. Yeah, it was
scary.
It was intense.
You said something I didn't remember.
What?
When people were yelling my name and then yelling your name in a different, back and forth.
Yeah, it was like...
I didn't notice it, or I didn't remember.
It was like, yeah, go Elvis, let's go Kurt, let's go.
Yeah.
It was just like that. It was really, but they were doing it, and it was jovial too, because it was fun, because he had.
Yeah,
those
it was
two.
all good.
Yeah.
I think I was frustrated because I was like, I got 6 in artistic, but I had fallen. I took a fall in probably, I think it was Lutz.
It was Lutz.
And
Yeah.
I remember looking and going, can I still get a 6? Is that cool? Is that good? Is that good?
Yeah.
And it was so close.
It was so close because I got 6s in technical.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so close.
Yeah, I remember it was like, I don't know who won.
It was like
Don't know who won.
minuscule. It was so close.
And then we went and kicked butt at Worlds.
It was awesome.
Question, where are we at? Some people are win at all costs and not very good losers. Both of you seem to have been have healthy attitudes towards competition. Where did that come from? It comes a lot from your martial arts, probably, huh? And do you think it's possible to compete in a judge sport with a win at all cost mentality? So that's a good question. Do you think it's possible? I mean, I think that in being raised well by our parents, giving us like, yeah, you've lost, accept that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't throw your toys.
Yeah. I for me, like I said before, I hate losing more than I love winning. But the thing is, when I didn't do my best or didn't achieve, then I looked at it there was a reason. There was something there to learn.
Yeah.
That I missed. So it wasn't always about they did that to me or something happened or what. And it was always like, okay, what did I miss? What do I need to improve to get to the next? It was always, what more could I have done? So I was always looking at myself internally. That's a healthy way of looking at it to a degree, but once it starts going almost too negative, where you end up overdoing it. Yeah, I had to like dig myself out of that hole. So I had to be very careful, but it helped me get better all the time. Like it just made me, it spurred me on for the next one. It gave me fuel to go, okay, now I'm the next one is going to be, here. So I just used it as fuel.
I hope I did. Sounds good what you said. But yeah, you do. You learn.
Yeah.
You learn. Like losing sucks.
It does.
But the second half of this question is interesting because where'd you get? Okay, that's different. And do you think it's possible to compete in a judge sport with a win at all cost mentality? Because whoever threw the ball the farthest or whoever ran the fastest, it's not judged. Mm-hmm. It's defined.
Yeah.
I won.
Yeah.
But what about when you lose and you're like, because I think Canadians, when I won and you should have won. Mm-hmm. So how does someone like you go? How does anybody lose in a sport that was judged? And you have the mentality that says, I have to win.
Yeah.
When it's not always in your control.
But it's not always just, here's the thing, it's not always about just the win. This is the little piece. You've got to focus on what you're doing in the moment, and then the winning happens. So it's like you focus on it, and then you don't think about the result while you're in the action of doing what you're doing. Because if you do that, you're screwed.
Way too much going on.
There's too much. You have to be in the moment. So the result is no longer in your grasp. It's like the process is key, and the result is just destiny. That's one I came up with years ago, because it's what Bruce Lee said. It's like the consciousness of the self is the worst hindrance to all physical action.
Self-awareness.
Yeah. So you're aware of the moment you're in, but not the result. Because I'm not really in control of the result. I'm only in control of what I'm doing in the moment. And if I did the best I could and I didn't win, then I'd be like, okay, there's a reason why I didn't. And you can be pissed off. You keep those to yourself. You figure out what you need to do. You go to the next competition. And then you just work on to be better. You just look at, okay, how can it's all strategizing each competition to work yourself there. Now, that spurring on of wanting to win, that to be the best is there. But I'm not thinking about the win while I'm doing the action. That's the difference. And that's what I teach kids, because it's just like, I got to think about the win. No. You don't think about the result. You think about the intensity of the goal. That's what fuels you to go where you want to go. You use the fuel to use in the moment. There's a very specific way of doing it.
Sounds like with that kind of thinking, you could get through a clean program, get to that last jump in your long program, and not realize it's your last jump in your long program. Like not put that weight on yourself, because most skaters will do that. Okay, I'll be clean if I can get through this last triple sap.
Yeah.
Instead of edge, speed, up, tight, done.
Yep.
But we don't. We go, one more.
Yeah.
And that's human instinct.
And
So
you
it's
get
really hard to
pulled out.
fight human instinct sometimes to be mentally strong and be successful.
That's what I trained. That's the
So
stuff
I had a
trained.
trick at the Olympics. I told Scott Hamilton I'm dedicating the double axel, half loop, triple sow, triple toe, doesn't matter. Double axel, half loop, triple toe to you, Scott Hamilton. And he's like, what? And I go, yeah, I'm dedicating the last jump in my long program to you.
That's really cool.
So when I was skating into it, I was like, okay, this one's for Scott.
And then you lock in.
Yeah, and I did it, and I landed the triple toe, and you can see my solo. I go, I turn, and I point at him, and then stumble into camel spin. But you can see Scott, and he's like, what? It's Olympics, and this kid's out there actually pointing up at me, and that was for you. So anyways, that was how I did it with it. You've got a way better. You're right. I was out in the stands finding my motivation.
But it's external.
It worked.
But it works, and that's the thing. It kept you in the moment until you went a little bit.
Stumbled into my Judith Bird says, do you think you're more or less passionate about skating now than when you competed? Was it more of a job when you competed? I think we read this before, and I think we both got quiet. I think for me, it's just so hard to compare what it feels like on a Friday night when you're 18 versus what it feels like on a Friday night when you're 50 something. It's still Friday night.
Yeah.
It's still like I don't have to get up tomorrow morning. There's still the same thing, but the way you approach it is very different.
Very, very,
and
very
it's
different.
hard to compare. And I think I'm as passionate about my skating as ever because I don't take anything for granted. And even just gliding out there, this sounds like waxing prophetic, but I mean just the deep edges and the swing roll. Been working with Sandra Bezic on this program, and there's a couple of moves that are just joyous. And I'm like, if I get two good crossovers and a big 3-turn, that thing's gonna sing, and I want that. I've been as passionate about that moment. What I don't have is the ability to do 13 triples in 1-stars in my show anymore. That's gone. So it's a different kind of passion.
Yeah, the passion of it, like back then competing, my passion for competition was for that. I still have the passion to compete. That's why I'm racing. So I love that, and I've always wanted to do that. It's definitely more of a job now, but the job is going to the rink to train, to stay in shape. That's going to answer another question there. But to keep things going. But what I enjoy more now, even more, is that moment when I go out to do the performance in a show. There's something about it that I'm just grateful for, that I'm still doing it, and I'm able to do it for the fans at 50. And that moment is, I don't know what it is. It's just something.
I'm more of a bow guy. I'm like, when it's over,
yeah. Because
you said going out there beforehand, and I'm still scared out of my brain.
Well, so
I can't quite enjoy it. But when it's done, I love a good bow.
Of course, but there's a moment when it, like, I'm settled in, I'm about to start the music, and it's that
this is special.
Yeah, there's something special that I'm still here, I'm still doing it. People still remember me. Like that, it's pretty amazing. And
it is.
And I use that moment to inspire going to the rink, because I used to love training, but now it's hard to get to go to the rink, and you have to do it all the time at our age to keep doing it. If you stop, it's so hard.
If you stop, you can't get going again.
It's so hard to get going.
And that's what COVID did. And so I know already this is going to be a hard tour for me. It's going to be nights where I'm going to step off the ice and go, okay, that was a little humiliating. I just know it because I don't have the sensitivity that I usually have to make it happen in the tough moments. In Winnipeg, when you're tired after a long day of travel.
You can grab it and go.
I can grab it and pull it in.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I'm scared, but I'm like, I'm gonna forgive myself to allow myself to learn, and like you said, and make it better. But I'm thinking I can't have the old expectations. I gotta have the realistic ones that are existing in 2022 for me, and then those ones I'll use, hopefully, to be the best version of myself I can.
And letting go. Actually, one thing I've learned in the last little bit is to learn to let go more and let nature take its course when you're out there doing the show. Just let it happen. Let it go for the ride. Let the audience take you on that ride. I let go more. That's what's helped me now from not getting, oh my God, I'm terrified of going, because you don't know what's going to happen. I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen, and I don't really care. I'm just here, and I'm lucky I'm here.
But I'm here 100%.
Yes.
Because when you don't care, it's okay. I tell kids, it's like, how do you not be nervous? And I go, because I'm prepared, and then anything that happens after that is okay.
Yeah.
Because I didn't not step on the ice prepared.
Yeah.
When I'm not prepared, then
it's
the guilt afterwards. Like, okay, you.
That's all on me. That's all on me.
That's my bad.
Yeah.
Missy, come in on with this. Meandi?
Meandi.
Meandi?
Meandi.
Meandi. Jackie Fraser Ritchie, these two together, Missy and Jackie wonder. It says so, wonder. How often do you skate? Well, all the time, like as much as we can. When we're getting ready for something.
Almost like pretty much every day, not weekends.
But I think we both do this. We'll both take time, like weeks away from skating.
Yeah.
Sorry, sweetie, fell off the pillow. Because you have other interests and other directions to put your energy, and you have to. Then you come back to skating refreshed.
Yeah, I won't take longer than maybe 3 weeks, but then when I come back, to keep it kind of going, I'll skate like once or twice a week. Just to kind of
trickle.
Just a trickle, because as I start to feel it, I'm like, ooh, I got to go to the rink. I kind of feel. I go on and I just kind of keep it going. It's like getting the pendulum. It's going. Just give it power right there, right there. Okay, I'm back on the ice. Okay, I'll let a couple more days. Okay, that's what it feels like, really.
What are some of the activities you do to keep yourselves healthy and limber? I like that word, limber, and work your muscles and your stamina. So how do you stay in shape?
I lumberjack. That's one thing. I go cut wood. Use the chainsaw and just cut wood, go outside. I'm doing that physical stuff.
Put that on my list of things I didn't expect.
Yep. And
I'm going to lumberjack.
Yeah, lumberjack. Yeah, I do that on our property. In the summer, I'm doing that all the time, physically working, landscaping stuff, but usually just going out to cut wood and grabbing the biggest pieces I can, splitting wood, lifting, all that sort of stuff. Physically just getting up. Using the body. Of course, I'm doing my kung fu and I do the specific workouts and stuff. And that's what I do, a lot of outdoor work.
There's a TV show there. I like biking.
Yep.
I'm not as good on the stationary bike, but out on the roads, and I bike hard. Like I don't pedal around. Mm-hmm. I go hard.
Yep.
And I enjoy that very much. And I do, if anybody watches Instagram or my Twitter, which like once or twice a year I put something out. But I'm following and doing isometric exercises.
Yeah.
Which I think is super healthy, especially for people who are aging. And it's called ISOPHIT, ISOPHIT. It's what I do.
Kung Fu is very similar.
There's control and holding your muscles tense.
Yep.
So
dynamic tension. There's stuff called dynamic tension that we use. Very similar.
Very similar.
So when I saw somewhere on Instagram or somewhere coming up, I'm like, oh, that's very similar. So that I use the same type of exercises when I'm specifically doing that. But when I want to I'm going to go outside and work and do something different and sweat. And
there's something that heals you mentally about being outside and doing real labor.
Connecting to the tree, like where we have property, the trees and the energy of nature and all that. You just soak it up. It's amazing.
So it's a TV show there. Okay, what's your key to longevity? Picking up trees and putting them down.
Lumberjacking.
How do you keep things interesting for yourself after 30 years of being a figure skater?
Do other things. I just recently get into the racing game with cars, and I had a friend that had passed away, and I knew that he would say to me, dude, do what you love doing. And so I started building the race car with a friend of mine, 2 race cars, and I'm pretty good mechanically, but I've never built a race car.
Hey, you fixed my Jeep that time.
Yeah, that was fun. And so I helped build 2 race cars to race this weekend, and that was amazing. Just learning new things or doing things I've always wanted to do.
They're so beautiful.
Yeah, it's cool. If you get a chance to check it on Instagram, we've done videos on the actual build from when I pushed it into the thing, it had no engine in it, was falling apart. And then we stripped the engine down and built everything, and then we raced it this weekend. It was 10 weeks. We did 2 race cars.
Amazing.
And I learned something new. I learned how to put that whole engine together with, Luca and his dad, and it was amazing. I had someone there holding my hand all the way, but I did the rear suspension on both cars, sway bars, did all that. It was amazing.
Getting too much farther away from figure skating. You know what I mean? It's not like you speed skate. No, you're like I race cars and I kung fu and very, very different. I think for me to keep inspired is that I allow myself to find those intrinsic things about skating that you can't find anywhere else. That's one of the things why I like biking. because that feeling of cornering and
Yep.
you know, and the energy. But I tell kids, I'm like, yeah, who rides a bike? Who rides a bike and who loves it when the corner goes like that? And everyone goes, yeah, we like that. I go, that's what we're gonna do with our skating today. And I love the feeling of skating. Maybe I don't get to do triple axel anymore, but I still love skating.
But you don't
love skating.
You don't need to do the triple axle to do that. Like when I'm
be
racing,
fun.
well, going on dirt bikes or cars, that feel like carrying flow is the same. Like when you hit the perfect track, like you're doing a lap, you hit the perfect lap for you. You're connected with the car, you're one, and then going back to build the car, it's very technical. And my brain is set up that way. It's just technical. I love to break the jumps down and see how it works.
Yeah, you and
I'm the same way with
Patrick Chan was very much like that.
Yeah, exactly. So that's where they relate for me.
Cool.
Yeah.
Last question, I believe.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Glenda Noble. Great name. Is there one thing in your life and or careers that you have not yet done but would like to?
If that's the Glenda Noble, I think it is. It'd be the same Glenda Noble that I just did a show with.
Oh,
in
really?
Newfoundland, yeah. It maybe. It might be the same one. It might be the same one.
In my career, there isn't too much, honestly, because I've just been able to do TV shows and competitions professionally and travel and, in Egypt performing. I mean,
Gladys did a show in Egypt when she did. This is the thing about, doing other shows and not always having to compete. Gladys, when she was with Disney, did shows in like Egypt and like I think she's in Dubai and like Indonesia, like wild, cool places.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's amazing. I would have loved to have done that.
We're always going to Wichita. We're
Odessa, Texas.
We're in the same places all the time.
Yeah, it's repeating, which is great. But to go to those really not remote places, but places you wouldn't think would have skating.
Yeah.
And that would be kind of cool.
That harkens to what I think. Like I've done so much in skating, I don't know how gluttonous I can actually become and how much more I can actually do. But in my personal life, I have not traveled for personal, being curious about the planet and going to new places. I've always traveled with my skates. I'd like to know what it's like to travel without them.
Gladys is awesome. My wife Gladys, she forces me to take holidays and she'll book something. She'll go, I want to go here. You're going to love it. And she shows it to me. I'm like, oh yeah. She goes, okay, let's go. You're taking time off. You need to take time off. You're not doing any show. She'll literally and she'll go, I'm paying for this. Let's do this. I'm like, okay. And it's always the best. Like, it's just so great. But she's the one that keeps me young and keeps me going and doing other things, gets me away from work because I'm so work orientated. I'm blessed because I have her to be able to pull me away from the craziness and get out of my head.
We're going to be on long bus rides and long rehearsal periods next week and for the next month. But we'll always be brothers on the ice, man.
Yeah, man.
Welcome to my pad. Nice to get you here.
This is the first time I've been here. Yeah. You got to come to our property and come check it out.
So this will instigate a personal cross inspection of each other's lives off the ice. Yeah. I hope. So that was the Kurt and Elvis show and Rocky, who slept through the whole damn thing.
Yeah. I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, Rocky's out. Oh my gosh. You went from here to blah. He's just, hey.
There we go. Say goodbye to everybody. Say bye.
See you on tour.
He's so sleepy. Bye, everybody. See you on tour. Good boy.